afternoon, everybody, and welcome, of course, to the Steel City Week. Thank you to the Steel City Sports Bar for having us here this afternoon. I call it the official, unofficial home of the Cape Breton Eagles off-ice festivities. So very excited to be here and very happy to be here and very excited to meet the gentleman to my right. And it is the reason that we're here today. I'm Jason McDonald, by the way, and today we want to take an official welcome to the new head coach of the Cape Breton Eagles. Please, a round of applause for Jason Clarke. Well, you know, Jason, luckily you and I had a chance to catch up this morning, which was great. It was a good little run-through of some of the things that we want to talk about here today. And ideally, we just want to get to know you a little better. And of course, we're super excited to have you in town. We know you do come from Ontario, but correct me if I'm wrong, it's kind of a similar sized town to Sydney. A lot of the you know, sort of the same size town, same kind of people, same kind of industrial, hard-working folks, right?
Yeah, so I come from a small town about 15 minutes west of Ottawa called Carleton Place. And it's very similar town to Sydney. I mean, it's a population about 11,000 people. It's on the water on the Mississippi Lake. It's all about hunting, fishing, you know, snowmobiling. I mean, lots of golf courses and skiing. So, and it's very similar to two very similar towns. So, it's nice to be here, and thank you very much for the warm welcome.
Yes, I don't think there'll be too much culture shock living here in Sydney. I noticed, of course, well, before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about how you ended up here, sitting here with us today. Maybe talk about, we know you have a history with General Manager Clarke. Tell us a little bit about how that came about, the interview process, and how this all came together, and ultimately how you ended up as the new head coach.
Yeah, so Sly hired me for my first QMJHL job when he was a general manager of Bathurst, and had the fortunate time to be able to work with him for about 6 or 7 months. And he parted ways and came to Cape Breton. And at that time, when Sly left, I thought it might be a good opportunity to see a few other opportunities came up, and I had an opportunity to go to work for the Anaheim Ducks. So I interviewed with Pat Verbeek, and I was hired as the assistant coach for the San Diego Gulls, and Sly and I became really good friends over the years that I was in San Diego and obviously in Bathurst, and we spoke probably once a month. My whole 2 years I was in San Diego, and always stayed in touch. And at the end of the season, Sly reached out to me and said Louis could be maybe taking another opportunity over in Russia, and asked me if I'd be interested in coaching if Louis was to leave. And I said, well, you tell me when he leaves and I'll be on the next plane here. So that's how much respect I have for Sly. I really enjoy working with him, and we have a really good relationship, which makes it a lot of fun to come to work every day.
That's absolutely fantastic. Have you had a chance to meet any of the other staff or many of the other staff with the organization?
Yeah, I met everybody, most of the staff at the draft, at the QMJHL draft, and that was a really good experience. I'd never been to a QMJHL draft and heard all about it. And I'd been to quite a few NHL drafts, and when I walked into the Videotron Center for the Quebec Major Junior Draft, I thought I was at an NHL draft. It was unbelievable. What a great experience.
They do it well.
Yeah, they do it very well. And I was able to meet the rest of the staff, and when I got home from the draft, I just said to my wife, I said I was very excited. You know, you're always excited about getting a job, but you really want to see the people who you're going to work with every day, just not the general manager. And I'm really excited about the people I'm going to be able to work with every day. And so we started to develop some relationships over the last couple of weeks, and I had a great meeting today, and really looking forward to entrenching myself into the organization in the city of Sydney.
That's fantastic. Let's talk a little bit about, you kind of already dived into it a little bit, but for those of us who are wondering about your coaching resume, you touched a little bit upon coaching in the AHL, but tell us a little bit about your organization, because you were very much a hands-on individual for your junior A career. I mean, being a coach, an owner, correct me if I'm wrong, everything down to the bus driver.
Yeah, we did everything. I was very fortunate to be able to have a junior A team in my hometown. My wife and I were able to raise our family, and I was able to kind of live my dream about being a hockey coach. And it started off as an expansion franchise. The CCHL needed one more team in order to make it 12, and we came in as an expansion team to make a league 12 teams. And over a 12-year period, we started off as a junior A team, and then we purchased a junior B team. Then we had a U18 team, and then we opened up our own training facility. So we kind of wanted to have like more of a European club system. That was kind of like what our idea was. And I was very fortunate to work by my wife every day, and she took care of a lot of the building and marketing and ticket sales and season ticket holders. And so it was a kind of like mom and pop shop. So, and over the 12 years, we had a great time. We won 4 championships in a row. We went to 4 national championships. In the 12 years we were there, we had over 100 Division I U.S. scholarships. 2 starting goaltenders for Team Canada came from our team, Devin Levi and Colton Point. And I think we had 7 or 8 NHL draft picks in the 12 years we were in Carleton Place. So it was very fortunate. I wouldn't be sitting here right now in front of and being in city if it wasn't for the community of Carleton Place. I was raised there. My wife was born and raised there, and without a community, like you don't really have anything. So the support we got from the fans and from the businesses and the sponsors was unbelievable. And without them, I wouldn't be here today. So I'm very thankful to be able to do what I did for 12 years.
You briefly mentioned about your experience dealing with kind of some Division I players. Tell us about, because I know you do have quite a bit of experience, and now with the rule changes in the CHL, tell us a little bit about how important your experience with kind of working with those Division I players is going to, you feel, be handy with your new position.
Yeah, the landscape of junior hockey has changed a lot now with the Division I players or CHL players being able to play Division I. And I think it's an important thing to be able to have really good relationships with those Division I schools because that's where a lot of the players are going to be going now. So it's really important that we develop the players for NHL draft picks, and we develop players to continue their education and their hockey career while they continue to get their education. So it really comes down to having really good relationships with the schools to understand when the players are going to come in, when they're going to leave and when they are ready to leave, but also too is being able to get players that they've already committed to. So getting free agents to come in here and make more of my kind of vision for Cape Breton is it's not a place to play hockey. We really want to make Cape Breton a destination for players to become better people, better students, and better hockey players. And I think that with the guys that we have in charge, with Sly and John, I think that we're well ahead of the curve for that, for sure.
Absolutely. Tell us about, so you mentioned after that, your first experience in the queue was with Bathurst, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were there during the kind of the COVID years, right?
Yeah, it was the first year after.
Quite an experience.
Yeah, it was quite an experience. Yeah. It was a little bit different, but it was a different world for everybody.
Yeah.
So, it's just something that you had to adapt to, and the teams that adapted to it the quickest, made the transition a little bit easier, that's for sure. But it was a great experience. We had a really good hockey team. Unfortunately, we ran into a very hot goaltender at PEI. We lost 1-0, 2-1 in overtime, and I think 2-1 in overtime again.
Five-game series.
5-game series. So it was really tough. They ended up getting to the semis, and we lost out. But it's one of the reasons why I'm excited to work with Sly is we have a little bit of unfinished business, and Sly's won a Memorial Cup. He's a winner. He knows how to win, and anytime you can win a Memorial Cup in the smallest market in all of the CHL, I think all the fans of the city should know that Cape Breton's in good hands, and hopefully I can put them over the finish line.
Well, and it's funny, I guess. Before let's talk. You also mentioned about your time in San Diego, and I know because when we spoke this morning, you had mentioned that some incredible experience that you gained in the AHL. Your role specifically was kind of to develop some correct me if I'm wrong, the defensive side of the bench, right?
That's right, yeah. So I was the defense coach, and I was responsible for the development of all the young prospects, and that's something that Pat Verbeek really prided himself in was the back end. So they had a lot of back end prospects. So Owen Zellweger, was a first round pick by Anaheim. He led all of the World Juniors in points the one year as a defenseman. They had Noah Warren, they had Tristan Leno, they had Tyson Hines, they had Colton White. So there's quite a few young guys. Drew Hellison, who won a gold medal in the World Juniors for the U.S. So I had a big responsibility of developing the young guys, and it was a lot of fun.
So your expectation, nothing less than winning a championship.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a fine line between winning and losing. There's no doubt about it. It's a to win a Memorial Cup is the toughest trophy in all of hockey to win. So, I mean, we got some work ahead of us, but one thing I like to do is work. So,
speaking of working, tell us a little bit about your playing career.
I played AAA in my hometown association called the Ottawa Valley Titans, and then was drafted and played in Kingston. And once I was done in Kingston, I went to Brock University, played a little stint in the Western Professional Hockey League, and came back and started life. Right. Yeah. So went back to school, finished my education, and married my lovely wife at. It was 23 or 22 when I got married, so yeah.
You should never say that with a question mark. You have to be definitive when you say that.
I've been married for 25 years, so yeah.
So listen, a lot of fans here that are both here in attendance and who are watching online as well, they're curious to know, and you and I kind of talked about it again earlier today, is your coaching style. And I know that's a hard question to answer. Yeah. No one has I know you probably don't have a very hard, this is the way we're doing it. But tell us a little bit about how at least you intend to approach a pretty young roster in the queue and what your plans or what your thoughts might be early on.
Well, I think what's important for me is I'm coming into an organization that Tesla and John have done a really good job of building up, and I think it's more of my job to be able to earn the respect from all the community members and our fan base and the sponsors. And I think with the way I'm going to be able to do that is just the way I handle myself on a daily basis and work ethic. I think that our players and our staff need to earn the respect from the fans. And I can tell you one thing, we'll be the hardest working team every night. You can never promise wins and losses, but you can always control your work ethic and your attitude. And I think that's what's most important, is that we want to be professional off the ice, we want to be professional on the ice, and it's really important that we earn our fans' respect and our sponsors' respect.
Do you think your experience in developing younger players, specifically your role in developing younger players, and do you think that's going to be an asset? Obviously, kids are a little bit younger here, but do you think that's going to be an asset here, rolling into a younger roster, into maybe an inexperienced team, or just kind of helping them along their journey? Do you think that's?
Yeah, I think that's probably one of my strengths, is working with the younger guys, and one of the things that I really learned a lot at the American League level was a lot about development, and then me having a year off. I've been working with Shelly Kettles, who's the skating coach for the Sens, and did a lot of development every day, working with major junior pro guys all the time. Worked a lot with the Sens in the off season as well too, and during the season. So I think development's a really big part of is major junior hockey. We're taking players that are really high-end talent, and they're not finished, right? And they're never finished. So you just got to be able to figure out what each player's strengths and weaknesses are, and making sure that they feel good about themselves every day, and that every player understands that we're here to help them make sure that they accelerate their strengths, right? Yeah. So if every player is feeling good about themselves and are having the ability to accelerate their strengths, then we should have a team that's pretty hard to play against.
Now, it's have you had a chance to speak to any players, or have you gotten? I know this is a tough time. You were around at the roster. It's a tough time to get to know any of the players. But what do you know about the team? Have you really gotten to know anything about the roster or individual players?
Oh yeah, we've Sly and I've had lots of conversations, and John, and I've watched some playoff games as well too. So I have a pretty good feel.
Did you watch the long one?
No, I didn't watch the long one. No, but. I watched the playoffs games and understand kind of some of the veterans that we have coming back. And I'll be honest with you, I met with 4 veterans at the QMJHL draft, and we had a nice lunch meeting. And I was very impressed with the maturity of the core group, the guys that are coming back. And I think that your team is only as good as your leadership, and I think that from spending some time with those 4 guys, I think that we're in a really good place. And I think Sly was telling me, I said it's the first time ever in the QMJHL history that we've got the 3 MVPs of the midget leagues coming into one organization. So it's promising. We have some really good young guys that are coming up, and we've got a really good core of good leadership and some veteran leadership. So I think we're in a really good spot.
Now I know you just kind of come into town 2 days ago. Is your plan to kind of make the transition here through the next? I know rookie camp starts August 15th.
Yeah.
I'm assuming do you have plans to be here a bit before that? Are you going to start working with the team directly?
Oh yeah, we're going to.
Because I know the move can be.
Yeah, no, we're gonna. Melissa's been great. She's given us a pretty good idea of where, how we're gonna live and where we're gonna live. We haven't figured everything out, but we're off to the races on that. She's been awesome, just keeping me and my wife with information. And once I get here, we'll probably get here I say a week before training camp starts, and just get to work. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, we put together, and we appreciate you telling us all about your family life and your coaching career, but we put together some fun questions to just, to help the folks here and to help the folks at home get to know you a little bit better. All right? So we'll start off with an easy one because I know you should have an answer to this. Who was your favorite childhood hockey player?
My favorite childhood hockey player was Wendell Clarke. Pretty easy. My last name, Jason Clarke. So I played very similar to him. Obviously, just not as good. That's for sure. But
well, you talk about your style about being hardworking.
Yes.
Certainly, Wendell Clarke, one of the hardest working hockey players in the game.
Oh, he was.
And the hardest nose.
And tough.
Tough. Oh, he's tough. What is your favorite way? You kind of mentioned a little bit about this, but what's your favorite way to spend the weekend? Other than a doubleheader in Rimouski.
I like to spend a lot of time on the water. My wife and I live on the water, and we got grandkids and kids, and we spend a lot of time on the water in the boat. And I like to golf as well too, so I kind of get the best of both worlds. And I'm very lucky. Our kids are all live very close to home still, and I've got 3 wonderful grandkids and 3 really kids I'm proud of. So spend a lot of time at the lake during the summertime and have have family fun.
Sounds like it's going to be an easy transition coming to here, where again there's a lot of water, a lot of boating, a lot of golfing, and I'm sure we're going to be able to make your weekends full. That's for sure. What is the most Canadian thing about you?
Oh, probably my accent and saying A all the time. That's what I've been told. So I'd probably say those 2.
Now this is one, doesn't matter, playing or coaching, doesn't matter. What is your go-to pre-game pump-up song?
Pre-game pump-up song? I don't know. That's a good question. I kind of move around a little bit.
Is it like hard rock? Is it rap?
I'm more of I kind of like everything, but I'm more of if I'm getting pumped up, I like more of old school 90s rap.
Okay.
More like that.
Yeah. Hard to get pumped up to country, but some Cypress Hill.
Cypress Hill, Beastie Boys. Yeah. A little bit of Public Enemy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good answer. What is your guilty pleasure food after a long road trip?
Well, my wife can attest to this because every time she goes to the grocery store, I ask her to get it. But chocolate-covered almonds.
Oh. Okay.
I could probably eat 2 bags of chocolate-covered almonds a day, probably.
Melissa, you're going to order a couple bags of chocolate-covered almonds? If you could have dinner with any celebrity, who would it be?
Tiger Woods.
Oh, yeah, nice. Yeah. He did a great, you can watch for a really great video that he did with Barstool Sports this weekend. That's going to be coming up. But Tiger Woods, any reason other than just he's one of the greatest athletes?
I just think he's probably the greatest athlete that's ever lived, and I just like I just like his story, his whole story of growing up and coming from a military family and his father and the relationship he had with his father, the relationship he had. I read not Harbaugh, his swing coach's book.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's he's just got a really neat story and background to him. I'd love to pick his brain for sure. A lot of people don't know this as well either, is that when he was out for a very long time out of golf, he was actually training for the Navy SEALs. He was going to stop being a golfer and want to get in the Navy SEALs. So
I'm told one of the things that kind of got him injured a little bit more often was that hard training.
yeah, it was a hard training for being a Navy SEAL. So you got a couple $100 million in the bank and have won a lot of championships, and all of a sudden now you want to be a Navy SEAL. So he's got to have a few screws loose, which I think is.
Tiger Woods, you can do whatever you want to do.
Exactly.
Ultimately, at the end of the day. What is the one thing that Eagles fans would be surprised to know about you?
I don't know.
You can do a dial-a-friend to your wife as well. What is the one thing that people would
What's one thing would be surprised, Jody?
Well, why don't you tell us the story about being the bus driver for your junior A team?
Yeah, well, so being an owner, and I was saying, because you do the budget, you're the owner, so you have to be frugal. So we had our own bus, and I was kind of tired of paying the bus driver $250 a time to go on the bus, so I just drove the bus myself. So, and then once we got a little bit more established, and we had 3 teams going, and money was a little easier, then we rehired. But when we first started the franchise, I drove the bus, I did all the laundry, did the marketing, did everything. So yeah.
Don't anybody tell Irwin that.
He already asked me if I still had my license. I told him
no. He let those licenses go. He can't do it anymore.
Yeah. That was the first question. He looked at me and goes, "Really?" He goes, "You still have your license?" I was like, "No."
What is the one piece of advice you would give every player?
Enjoy every moment, because you're living the best years of your life from 16 to 20, and it goes by really quick. And that you just need to just enjoy every moment. There's good times and bad times, but you're always gonna learn a lot, as much through the hard times as you are through the good times. And life isn't as bad as what you may think at that time. Just to enjoy your years. Those are your best hockey years of your life, is 16 to 20 years old. So just enjoy it.
Do you remember your first win as a coach?
As a coach. In major junior or junior A?
Junior A.
Junior A, yeah. I remember our first franchise win. So Carlton Place, we were actually playing we were playing the defending champions and the Pean Raiders at a showcase in Carlton Place, and we actually won that game 2-1. So it was a pretty big win for us. Yeah.
Do you remember your first win at the Q?
I remember it very, very well, because the players were very, very celebratory with me, and it made me feel very. It was a really proud moment for me, because the players treated me so well when I was in Bathurst. Had really good relationships, and I still have the picture up in my office at home with all the players surrounding me, and it was a special moment for sure.
Did the COVID years kind of make that environment a little closer because it had to be?
Yeah, I think so, but I also think it caused a lot of needless stress at times, and which I thought was more stressful on the players than it was actually the staff.
Okay.
So it was always, you had your protocols every day, and the players were always kind of a little bit on edge. So we as staff members tried to kind of take that edge off a little bit. So it was, you want to what? It wasn't the most perfect situation, but you want to what? At least the kids were playing hockey, and that's what we tried to remember them every day, saying, hey, you can be sitting at home doing nothing right now, right? So just trying to keep them in a positive mind frame was the biggest thing that we tried to do.
Good. Here's a good one. If you could coach any player in hockey history, who would it be?
Wendell Clarke.
I kind of thought you were going to say that. Well, would he be coachable?
Oh yeah, I had the fortunate to be able to meet Wendell Clarke a couple times.
Yep.
When I played in Kingston, my line mate for 2 years was Jeff Dixon, and Jeff Dixon was Doug Gilmore's nephew.
Yeah.
Right. So we would go down to the gardens and watch practices, and and Wendell had a cottage in Kingston, and Doug Gilmore's from Kingston, Ontario, and I played there. So met him a couple times. He's just an awesome guy. Just a really cool guy to be around all the time. Very, very genuine person.
I'm a Habs fan, and I absolutely, I know, and I despise the Leafs. I do. But when anybody asks me who the most, if you could describe the most Canadian player to ever play the game, I always say Wendell Clarke.
Yeah.
I always say Wendell Clarke.
Yeah.
Kind of a weak-born, just hard grinding kind of guy. So I can, as much as I hated the team that he wore and you were rooting for,
Mark St. Louis doing a really good job in Montreal. I think the Habs fans should be really happy.
Absolutely. So, the future is bright, but I've been saying that for a long time. What is your funniest memory as a coach?
Oh, I don't think I can tell the story. That's for sure.
Do you have a G-rated funny memory as a coach?
Well, yeah, actually one, I would say not, G-rated, I guess. So I have this big mark on my face right here, and it's from actually a slap shot during a game when I was coaching. So my coaching staff was trying to convince me to use the new iPads. So we were using iPads. I really didn't want to have anything to do with them on the bench just because they weren't working all that well. And so it was our second game with them, and I turned my back with the iPad, and I'm speaking with a player. All of a sudden the puck comes to the bench, comes in, full slap shot, splits me wide open, and I got a head like a bowling ball here. Obviously you can see that. So it didn't stun me all that much, but I was split, and all he said was, "Those goddamn effing things," and I threw the computer, I threw the iPad down. I was so mad. I said, "We're never using those again," right? So
give me a whiteboard.
Yeah, exactly.
What is the one thing that's on your bucket list that you haven't done yet?
There's a couple things that my wife and I'd like to do. To travel together, so it's a couple of countries that we would really like to see.
Yep.
Talking about Italy, talking about doing like Asia, and just like we really like to travel. So it's a couple of things on our bucket list.
Did you talk to Joe? Did you talk to Joey about?
We were just talking about it last night. So yeah.
Beautiful trip to Italy. If there was one thing that you could instantly master outside of coaching, outside of hockey, what would it be?
Golf.
Usually the answer, but especially when you said you went to have dinner with Tiger Woods. That would be, well, I get one. How are you as a golfer?
I'm not bad. I'm okay. Yeah, I have my good games, I have my bad games, but I mean, when you're an assistant coach in the American League, when the season's done, it's done, right? So I got to play a lot of golf last year, and now that I've got this new title, I've golfed a lot less. That's for sure. Not as much as I'd like to, but I like hockey a lot more than I like golf. So
funny you mention that, and like you say, the season's done when it's done in the AHL. But I'm also told, and I have some friends that have worked in the AHL, the season itself is a grind for a lot of bus hours. Is that true? Is it tough in that league?
It's a very tough league to coach in. Yeah. I mean, it's probably the toughest league maybe in the world to coach because your lineups are changing all the time. You could have Owen Zellweger run your power play one night, and then all of a sudden he's gone for a month. Yeah. Right, and then all of a sudden you've got some Division I signings that are coming in at the end of the year. You're trying to go for a playoff run, but the GM comes in and says, "Hey, these 4 guys got to play now," right? Because they're looking for contracts for the following year, and the travel was tough. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're on a plane or on a bus. When you're away from home, you're away from home. You're traveling all the time. So was it a little easier sometimes being on a plane? I'm not sure about that. Yeah. So because you're always in an airport, you're in a stuffy plane. So yeah, travel was tough for sure. Yeah.
Last question, last one of our fun little questions of getting to know you. What about living in Cape Breton are you most excited about?
The people.
Outside of the hockey.
Yeah, okay. The people. I mean, ever since I've been here, even when I was coaching in Bathurst and I was coming here, I told Sly, I said, like, this is before he even got the job here. I was like, this is the best place to come to in the whole league, just to set up the hotel, how nice all the people were. And no, I'm really looking forward to, like I said, entrenching myself into the community. My wife and I are very community orientated and very community based. Like, we come from a small town. Carl's always supported me and has always been my biggest supporter, my biggest fan. She knows when the season starts, I just like to work. So
it's fantastic. And I'm sure you're saying all the right words for Sly, too. That's exactly what he wanted to hear. Do we have any questions? Does anybody have a question that they wanted to ask? Is there anybody out there who wanted to grab a microphone? You don't have to be shy. No? We're good? No question? All right. Well, listen, from all of us here, we had a great opportunity getting to know you. We had a great opportunity here today to get to know you, and I know we're going to have many opportunities. I know you're going to be doing some more radio tomorrow morning as well, and we'll have all kinds of opportunities to have you in and get you doing some online stuff with Pat McNeil and getting to know you a lot better. You and I talked this morning. I know that you're big into the community, and you know that getting to know the community and getting to know the sponsors, it's a big part of the job. And we're very, very excited to have you. So on behalf of all of us, welcome to Cape Breton and welcome to the team.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. No problem.
Yeah.
No problem. What's your name?
Bryson.
Bryson? Jason. Very nice to meet you.
He knows a whole lot of it. He's
Oh.
the family.
Oh, does he? Yeah. No problem.